Hey, it's Joe AMoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a hard time trusting guys? Do you have a hard time opening up and being vulnerable because you've been hurt before and you're afraid of having your heart broken again? Or has your life experience shown you that guys are these selfish, immature, emotionally unavailable guys who can't be trusted because they're always going to hurt a woman? Well, if that's the case, I want you to pay close attention because in today's video, we're going to talk about the 3 things you must do to regain your trust. See, I believe that the number one reason that you don't trust men is because you don't trust yourself. You don't realize that you're smart enough and that you're intelligent enough to identify a guy who isn't trustworthy, because that's kind of been your experience, hasn't it? So you got to realize the very first thing you've got to learn is you've got to learn to trust yourself and know that you're smart enough to identify and recognize the red flags when a guy isn't trustworthy. Now, the second thing you must do is you must learn to manage your emotions. See, if you look at your past, all these guys who broke your heart or who hurt you, if you look at that and you take a good honest look at yourself and take some mirror time, you're going to realize that you gave these guys your heart and other body parts before they actually proved to you that they were trustworthy. Now, you may have had some good times, there may have been some chemistry, you may have had some things in common, but the reality is you didn't really fully understand if a guy was trustworthy or not. I'm going to share a little secret with you, and it may rock your world. It may actually blow your mind. And so, I want you to come a little closer because this is really important for you to get. Come on, come closer. You ready? All guys shouldn't be trusted. What, Joe? What are you saying? All guys shouldn't be trusted. Yes, that's right. I'm saying it. As a man, I'm telling you, not every guy should be trusted. There are a lot of guys out there, a lot of guys who are selfish, who are immature, who are emotionally unavailable, who only care about you because of what's in your pants. Okay. You've got to know that. You've got to use that to your advantage. You got to be able to identify and recognize those guys. You can't fall in love with a guy until you realize, am I safe? Is it safe to give this guy my heart and my other body parts? And I fully believe one of the reasons why you get yourself in these messes is because you fall in love with guys who show you that they're not trustworthy. And so you've got to learn to manage your emotions in a smart and healthy way so that you can pick the right guy for the right reason. Now, the third thing that you can do to regain your trust is you've got to be able to screen these guys. You got to be able to identify the red flags which show you that a guy isn't trustworthy. Because here's the really cool part. The red flags are always, always, always there. But what happens is because you're so caught up in the chemistry and you're so caught up in the newness and the excitement of the relationship, you miss those red flags. Or worse, you see them, but you ignore them. And that's what works out to your detriment. So you've got to realize that your trust is a privilege, not a right. And that a guy doesn't get your trust until he's earned it consistently for a little time. Doesn't say it's got to take years for a guy to regain your trust, but he's got to show you consistently over a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months, that he's worthy of your trust. He's worthy of the ability for you to open up and be vulnerable so that you could be safe. And any guy who doesn't do that shouldn't be trusted. It's a guy you shouldn't fall in love with. Now, I know you're going to say, but Joe, I can't help who I fall in love with. You know what? I think that's bullshit. Okay. You can if you really wanted to. It's just that there's a part of you that wants to just jump right in because you like the newness, you like the excitement. Okay. I know I did that. That's what I did with my ex-fiance. It was new, it was exciting, it was fun. We jumped right in. And the red flags were everywhere, like the UN waving around everywhere. And I ignored them because I didn't want to see them. Because if I saw them, then I had to admit that I could no longer be in a relationship, that I would have to leave. And at that time, it was something that I wasn't willing to do. But once I realized that these red flags are making my life miserable, it's like, you know what? I'm out of here. So I'm trying to be honest and transparent. So you can see we're all kind of the same here. We're all kind of in the same boat. And so you've got to learn that your ability or your belief that men can't be trusted really first and foremost has to do with you not trusting yourself. You see, what I did in my experience is I learned from that. And I said, I will never get involved with another person that I can't trust to be the partner that I need. And the beautiful part is people show you. You know, a man will show you if he's trustworthy or not. All you have to do is just kind of sit back and pay attention. Like, just observe the red flags. A guy who isn't trustworthy will show you by his consistent actions, not just with you, but how he lives his life, whether he is trustworthy or not. Make sense? Well, I really hope that you get a lot out of this video and you use it and you understand that if you do these three things, if you learn to trust yourself, if you learn to manage your emotions, and you learn to screen guys better, then it'll be much easier for you to identify when a guy is trustworthy and when he's not. Because here's the truth. If you don't trust a guy who is trustworthy, who is a good man, who will have your back, who will be there for you, then you're going to keep yourself from having the very thing that your heart desires, a good man and a great relationship. And I'm out to tell you, there are a lot of good men out there who want to be with a woman who does trust them. Because if a guy realizes you don't trust me and your trust issues ultimately affect him and make him unhappy, then guess what that guy's going to do? He's going to disappear and he's going to go find another woman who is willing to trust him. So I really hope you know, this is one of those real serious videos, but I do this is because I want you to understand the truth of how things really work. You know, trust isn't this just magical thing where you just go, okay, I trust you. No, a lot of guys shouldn't be trusted, but there are a lot of great guys that should be trusted. And if you don't trust them, ultimately you're going to deprive yourself of the thing you want the most. So I have a little homework for you. I want you to ask yourself, take some mirror time and ask yourself this question. What is it that I need to learn or to do differently to trust a good man? You know, go back and look at these three things to regain your trust and say which one pertains to you the most, and what's one thing that you can do today to start establishing that trust. See, I believe trust is like a wall. You know, you build it one brick at a time, and the more you put each brick in, the more you learn to trust in a way that you protect yourself, because that's really what trust is. Trust is your ability to protect yourself and for you to keep yourself safe. And one of the ways you do that is by identifying a guy who is and isn't trustworthy. So go ahead, answer that question, take your mirror time. And if you have any other questions about trust, go ahead, put them in the box below. As always, an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much.